Hello, everybody. Welcome to another live stream Monday. My name is Laura Cantu, and I'm here with Francisco.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here.
Yes, happy to be back for yet another important live event where we'll be talking about very important things, such as what to do this 2024, this new year, because we are in 2024, January 15th. So we will be discussing what are the things that you and your students should be doing in order to maximize the odds of getting accepted into college with scholarships. What are some strategies? What students from each grade should be doing from freshmen in high school to seniors in high school, because we have been talking a lot about the FAFSA in the past couple of days because it has been a very relevant topic. There's been a lot going on that. But we wanted to kind of talk to you guys, my middle schoolers, my parents with students in freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, to kind of go over what to do during this first month of the year.
Right.
So yeah.
And as we get started, just as more people pour in, we're live again on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. If you can let us know in the comments, we're monitoring the chat, and we also have David in the chat commenting and again, keeping an eye out for whatever it is that you are saying. So if you want to start letting us know whether you're a parent, what grade your student is in, or if you're a student yourself, what grade you are currently in. That's going to give us an idea of who our audience is right now, and if we need to spend more time in a particular grade or go in a particular type of content, we'll go ahead and do so. So let us know again in the chat, whatever platform you're watching us through, again, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, let us know what grade the student is in. And as you said, Laura, we have a lot of information that we're going to cover. So regardless of what year your student is in, we will have information that is relevant to you. Previous weeks, we've been very FAFSA centric because that's the breaking news. That's what's going on in the world of college admissions. However, we're going to be giving admissions tips today. We're going to be giving tips as to what you should be doing to improve the competitiveness of your college application. Of course, we're going to touch on the FAFSA a little bit, but for the most part, we will be doing an overview on the admissions process. I can also already see on Instagram that we have BEM71 that their student is in 8th grade, or that they're in 8th grade. I see I serve YHWH 10th grade. Big Sarge is saying parent of a senior. Strick is saying 9th grade last year. Okay, so junior, senior. Okay, so we have a combination of a bunch of different grades. So what we will be going over in chronological order is what students in each particular grade should be doing. Lots of information. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for commenting. Keep those going. It promotes the live. It recommends it to other profiles similar to you. And the more people that join, the better it is for us. We grow our channel, and more people who are in a similar situation to yours will get valuable information. So thank you for that. And Laura, do you want to advance forward the show?
Yes, perfect. So why don't we go ahead and get started with the first order of business, which is back to school tips, winter break edition, because yes, there was a break and a lot of students, if not all students, are back in school right now after that winter break. Some students may be taking midterms now because some schools decided to do it after winter break. Some high schools or middle schools maybe did those midterm exams before the break. So there's a lot going on right now since we're back in school. Well, today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, so maybe you had the day off, maybe you didn't work today. So yes, we are back in school. So why don't we go ahead with my seniors? Let's start with my 12th graders, which it has been very eventful first start of the year for students who are seniors, who have to, obviously, if they qualify, fill out the FAFSA if they're planning to go to college next year. And it has been quite the overwhelming and very frustrating process for a lot of people trying to fill out the FAFSA, or failing to fill out the FAFSA because of all the problems that the platform has had with thousands and thousands of people. So right now, I will go over some things that your student could be doing instead if maybe you haven't gotten the chance, or if you haven't been successful with filling out this form, and things that you should still be doing even if you are able to fill out the FAFSA. And that is to finish those college applications for those students who are applying regular decision. My seniors who did not apply early action or early decision, or maybe you did apply early action or early decision and you didn't get accepted, or you only got accepted early action and you are still planning to apply to some schools that are your target, or I mean your safety schools, or your target schools. It's important to make sure that those applications are in on time if you do apply regular decision, because regular decision obviously does have a deadline. There are schools that have rolling admissions, and the deadline will vary, or there's not necessarily a deadline for rolling admissions. So depending on the application that the student is doing, for my seniors, besides obviously completing the FAFSA as soon as possible, as soon as it's available to your family, besides that, making sure that other aspects of those college applications, if you haven't finished doing that, are submitted on time and correctly. Additionally, the other type of financial aid forms that some colleges do require, the CSS profile. If your student is applying to a school or apply to a school that did require them to submit the CSS profile, make sure that they are submitting that form. Maybe it's submitted already. Maybe you don't even know that you had to submit it, and you are just finding out. Make sure that those forms, if the school does require the CSS profile, make sure seniors that you are submitting it. So that was my tip for seniors. Fran, do you have anything to add?
Yes, I want to make sure, because I saw that in the comments there were a lot of parents of seniors and seniors themselves. I want to give some bonus tips. We shared some of this on one of our latest TikTok, and this is something that we go very much in depth with our best college aid students. And basically, what we teach them, there are three particular tips, things to do, items to complete after filling out the FAFSA. And this is so that you don't leave money on the table. I want to make sure that what you learn from these show is something that can, again, this is mostly applicable to seniors, but if you're a junior right now, 10th grade, 9th grade, I want you to know this moving forward. Okay, so the first thing that I want you to complete, if you have not already done so, which you haven't because it hasn't happened yet, is to wait until the last week of January, because that is when the official FAFSA release says this will happen. Go ahead, and once that final week of January rolls around, gather a list of all the contact information, all of the financial aid office information, those phone numbers, those emails. Make sure that those schools that you contact those schools, and that you ask them if they have received and processed the information for the FAFSA, because again, by the last week of January, that's when they're getting this information. Another thing that we teach our students in that Best College Aid is to go ahead and compare financial aid award packages between different schools. Our students learn how to negotiate, how to apply for a reconsideration scholarship, how to go through that process. So that's something that you should be doing as well once you receive your packages. And then finally, we teach our students in that Best College Aid, and something you should know is once you get those financial aid award packages, look at which expenses are fixed and non-negotiable, which ones are the billable expenses and which ones are a little bit more flexible, and remove every unnecessary expense that you have. Okay, so I just wanted to go ahead and do that quick overview of what we teach our students that you should keep in your radar, so that when the time rolls around, you don't leave money on the table or pay for more than what you have to. Okay, so that was it, or what I wanted to add for juniors. Now I want to move on to the juniors. I want to go ahead and share some information that will be pertinent to you, that will be, again, guiding you through this process, what you should be doing right now. And that is to start looking for the colleges that you'll be applying to. Start building that preliminary list of colleges. Inside Best College Aid, our members know what they should be doing every month of every year, starting as early as middle school all the way through in college. And one of the big emphases that we have right now for this later part of the winter and the spring is to go ahead and start crafting that perfect list of colleges. There are around 4,600 potential universities that you could be paired up to. I say universities as a loose term, but it could be a college, it could be a university. However, as we've mentioned extensively, not all colleges offer the same majors. Not all colleges have the same level of generosity. So establishing your search criteria based on what you want to study, based on your family's financial need, will be a foolproof way to go from thousands of options to a concrete preliminary list of around 30 schools, and then a final list of 8 to 12 schools, all of which satisfy your financial and your academic goals. And then once you have that preliminary list, you can make decisions over the summer. Am I going to visit? Am I going to research more into what they look for in their applicants? When do those deadlines open up? What's going to be my application strategy? That's the whole basis of what we teach our students at Best College Aid. And I just wanted to put it out there so that it's in your radar and you know that that's something that you need to start thinking about if you have students who are in their junior year of high school.
Yes. So, like Francisco said, building that college list for my juniors because next year, before you know it, not even next year, by the time that summer starts, your students should be starting to complete those college applications because trust me, time flies. You can ask current seniors in high school about it, how they feel. It's literally January, and soon enough they're gonna have to be making decisions. Soon enough they're gonna be graduating. So it's important to start with the process early. And when it comes to the list of colleges, we do believe, and I believe is the most important part of the process. And this is something that it doesn't only have to be started junior year. As a matter of fact, it could be started earlier, like you said, Francisco. So this is obviously a tip for my juniors, but my freshmen, my sophomores, even my middle schoolers, you can start thinking, you can start investigating and researching which colleges might be the best option for you. So that was my tip for my juniors in high school. Let's go sophomores. Let's go 10th graders. What should they be doing? Start to define an academic or an extracurricular path. Not start, maybe continue. You have been in high school for a year and a half so far. So if you are a sophomore, maybe you might have an idea of if you do practice an extracurricular and you've been part of the Best Buddies club, or if you've been part of the soccer team, the basketball team for the past 2 year and a half. Maybe if that is something that you want to continue to do in college, stick to it, get better at it, continue that path and use it to your advantage by the time that college admissions rolls around. And maybe you could get a scholarship for continuing to do this extracurricular activity. If you are, maybe you've taken some AP classes, a couple of AP classes freshman year, sophomore, like this year, try to plan more advanced level classes that you could take in the next couple of years so that you can start to build up that resume and get accepted or have a higher GPA, get more college credits. So definitely start to define an academic path, or start thinking maybe if you're not going to start building your college list yet. And it's one of the things that could help you build the college list is thinking, what do I want to major in? Where do I want to go? What type of college or what type of experience do I want to have in college? So start thinking about those things. Start thinking, what do I want to study? Where do I see myself? So that when you start creating that college list, you have an idea, you can visualize where you want to end up, and it makes that process of creating a list of colleges much, much easier. So that was my tip for my sophomores. And then my freshmen, Francisco, you want to go ahead and tell my freshmen what's the best course of action during this month and this new year, 2024?
Right. So you mentioned extracurriculars earlier. Something that our students learn in depth in Best College Aid is what colleges look for in terms of extracurriculars. And the two main components are leadership and duration. What degree of involvement did you have and for how long? So along those same lines, for my freshmen, you need to start trying everything in terms of things that would potentially build up your academic resume, and that is applicable for extracurriculars. So if you're interested in joining the debate club or if your school allows some sort of honor society extended to freshmen, or if it's a band, or if it's a sport, or if it's whatever it is that you're interested in, that your student is remotely interested in, try it. Even if it's not for the sake of sticking with it for 4 years, it might be for the sake of realizing that you're not interested in it, and that is equally as valuable, because then you'll find activities that you are interested in. This could inform your potential academic career path if you find a club or if you enroll in a class that you otherwise wouldn't have, and then you realize that you have a knack for it, or that you have a sort of inclination for it. This can very much give you or reveal to you something that you didn't know before about yourself. So again, along those lines, experiment with everything in terms of extracurriculars, in terms of the classes that you take. Why? Because once you do find those things that you do enjoy, you're going to go ahead and pursue them and continue to be involved for the rest of your high school career. That's something I remember in high school. I took AP Physics 1 just because my friends were taking it. I wasn't interested at all. And I really, really liked it. I had a tremendous professor. So I went ahead and enrolled in AP Physics 2 and then AP Physics C for my junior and senior year of high school. I actually applied to college as a physics major. I changed my mind afterwards, but it was very influential to me. And luckily, because I liked it and because it was something that I was good at, I did well in those classes, passed those AP exams, and then it all built up to my resume being, elevated or having was some sort of an edge. So if you find that, but in either your extracurriculars or in your academics, that's something that you're going to be able to leverage. Study after study show that the topics that students care about or are interested in are topics that they perform better at. And if you have better grades on harder classes, then that improves your the competitiveness of your college application all around. So that is a recommendation for my freshmen. Try everything and stick with what you like.
Exactly. Yes. Try everything. The beauty of being a freshman is that you have time to explore. And this also goes for my middle school students, because we did get some comments on Instagram of people who are in middle school or parents who have middle schoolers. Really do encourage your child to try different things and to try to find their passion, because ultimately when it comes to extracurriculars and even a career path, students do so much better when they are doing what they love. And this could be in terms of their career, or it could be in terms of their extracurriculars if they are passionate about a sport. I was passionate about musical theater. That was my extracurricular activity, and it's what ultimately helped me get an $8,000 scholarship to go to college and continue to do it as my extracurricular activity. My brother David, he was passionate about swimming since an early age, and he told my parents. My parents were very supportive with this, and he did all the hard work. He did everything that he had to do. He went through the recruitment process, because for athletes, that is something that they will have to go through. And we do teach that inside of Best College Aid, how to navigate that recruitment process for student athletes. But he did that, and he was so motivated. He was the one who was basically getting in contact with coaches. He was, looking up times, seeing which schools he could swim at, and he eventually got an $8,000 per year scholarship to swimming in a Division I school. So, and this was, most of it was him loving what he did, and this ultimately helped him not only get accepted into a great school, but be able to afford it while doing what he loved. So it's important to encourage your children to find their passions. So I just wanted to throw that in there, because it really is a testament to a lot of the success stories that we've had inside of Best College Aid, are personal success stories. And it really does make a difference.
Absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of making a difference, something that will make a difference in all y'all's college experience is how much you have to pay for it. So what I want to do now, Laura, is I want to share with everyone watching. I'm going to go over all of them one after the other. And if you have questions, you can let us know in the chat. But basically, I want to break down, and this is not just for seniors, not just for juniors, but for everyone, because this is something that if you understand early on, you can take advantage of it as you go along. So I want to go ahead and understand and teach you all the different types or the different sources of financial aid and scholarships, the reasons why you would get them, how you would qualify, and basically everything you need to know about them on a surface level. And then as you go along through the process, then you can inquire more or make sure that you go through the things that you have to complete in order to become eligible. But I want to do a overview of how scholarships work for college, because again, it's the beginning of the year, and I want to make sure that if we have live streams or if we have shows or whenever we talk about this in the coming months, you are on the same page as everyone else, and I can just use the terms that I'm about to explain today and everyone understands. Okay, so basically, when it comes to paying for college, you are going to have 4 sources of money, and they can give you money for one of 2 reasons. They can give you money for your merit. And when I say merit, I mean, what have you done? Do you have credentials? Do you have accomplishments under your belt that make you worthy of that money in terms of your merit? Or you could receive money based on need, on financial need, on your family's financial situation, and that usually goes along with filling out certain forms. Okay, so those are the two reasons why you would get money from the following four sources. First, we have the federal government, that is the United States government, that will look at someone who is either a citizen, a resident, or an eligible non-citizen. And if that person fills out the necessary documentation, the free application for federal student aid, which opens up for seniors and which just opened up for seniors in 2024, the first of the month or the 31st of December, then you will become eligible to, if you qualify based on your family's financial situation, receive money from the federal government. There are different vehicles. There's the Pell Grant, there is work study. You can be eligible for some subsidized loans, but that is the way that the federal government helps students get money for college. Then the next source is state aid, and different states will have different eligibility requirements, whether it's having lived in a particular state for a certain amount of time, having the merit of a certain GPA or certain SAT or ACT scores. So unfortunately, as opposed to the federal government, where it's a standardized set of requirements and procedures to qualify for it, each state might set their own policies. So my recommendation there is to look for your particular state's policies as far as the state-sponsored programs. But that is the way that state money works. Typically, you will have to go to college within the same state where you resided. Next up, we have probably the most important sort of financial aid and scholarships available to students, and that is institutional aid. That is money that comes from the specific universities, colleges and universities that the student will be attending. Super, super important, because in most cases, this will be the source of the most amount of money in your financial aid award package. It certainly is for best college aid students, because we strategically help them make a list of colleges of exclusively generous universities that satisfy above 70% of their financial need. And then they only apply to those schools, and then they can negotiate, and then they can reduce or decrease or get rid of unnecessary non-billable expenses. So they end up getting a very juicy institutional aid package from, again, the school. And then the last type of aid and scholarships, which you can all qualify for, are private awards. These are whenever you think of a scholarship, as far as you make a list of scholarships that you're going to apply to, you fill out an essay, you send your scores, you have an interview, those traditional things that you think of whenever you hear the word scholarship. You're typically thinking of a private award. And again, similar to state-sponsored awards, because there's so many entities that could provide these funds, they all set their different procedures, criteria, and because they're private organizations, you have to read the fine print. But you want to make sure that you make yourself as eligible as possible for as many of these different awards as possible, because you can in fact combine them. So Laura, do you want to talk a little bit about combining the different types of aid and scholarships that a student can receive? Can you give us a little bit of a breakdown of how that looks like?
Yes. So when it comes to your financial aid award package, a lot of people actually think that you can't combine them, or if you get maybe a private scholarship, that you can't get other type of aid. But the cool thing is that in most cases, unless the student gets some sort of like full ride where it specifies that like only that money from that award can be used, students can literally like win a bunch of institutional scholarship, a bunch of private scholarships, and their federal scholarships, federal aid grants, and even state scholarships, and combined all of that and use it to their advantage. There's a lot of students. There was actually a student a few years ago, I don't know if you saw that, those news, that literally graduated from college with money left over from just scholarships from a bunch of private scholarships that she won. So this money can be added up. As a matter of fact, let's take myself as an example. I went to my freshman year, I went to school with a full ride. I had a bunch of scholarships, a bunch of financial aid that made up my financial aid award package. And a lot of people might think, oh, so she just got, like, the college just literally said, here you go, here's $54,000 in scholarships. No, my financial aid award package was a combination of a bunch of things. First of all, it was institutional scholarships. And within those institutional scholarships, there were different awards. So I received a presidential scholarship, which was an institutional scholarship based solely on merit, and it was based on my academic success, my academic performance in high school. And then I also received institutional scholarship, which was my theater scholarship. This was an $8,000 scholarship that renewed every year. And I got for being part of the theater club, and I auditioned for this theater club, and for being part of it and for being part of the that organization, I basically got awarded money. So that was another type of institutional aid that my school awarded me. Finally, just from institutional aid, my school also gave me need-based aid. And I was actually able to, and this is something that we teach our students inside of Best College Aid how to do. I was initially, my freshman year, my financial aid award package wasn't as high as it was. I was able to ask for more money and get a reconsideration scholarship after asking for more money. And that came from my reconsideration scholarship, which was all solely need-based money. I reached out to the school. I said, love it, I really want to come here, but I need more money, basically. Obviously, there was a strategy and a way to reach out to the school, and they awarded me more need-based aid. And this was all only my institutional aid. I also, by filling out the FAFSA, I received, I got the Pell Grant and Perkins loan, not Perkins, sorry, Perkins grant, and not Perkins, is it Perkins? No, yes, Perkins. I'm confused now.
They don't have, like, they discontinued.
Yeah,
so.
Discontinue it. That's why. So this was something that they had back in the day, but when I was in college, so maybe some people that had students back in the day were able to get this, but that was something else that I had. But I did receive grants that helped me pay for college, and I also was able to get state scholarships. So all of this added up to a beautiful financial aid package that helped me pay for college, and I was able to go tuition free. So a lot of people don't make the mistake of thinking that a scholarship is just one type of scholarship the students could receive, and it's just the FAFSA, or it's just institutional scholarships. And no, your financial aid package is probably going to be a combination of all the financial aid and scholarships that your student was able to receive if they maybe apply for private scholarships, if they filled out the FAFSA and they got federal aid, if they got a lot of institutional aid and scholarships. All of these could be combined and used to make up a financial aid package. So, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. No, and I had a similar story. I won't repeat what you already said, but again, I also applied for a private scholarship. It was from Comcast. UNC, where I went to school, the University of North Carolina, gave me a institutional award package made up of different particular university sponsored scholarships. I didn't qualify for state sponsored awards because I'm from Florida, went to school in North Carolina, so that didn't apply in that case. But I did receive federal awards. And when COVID hit, I asked for a reconsideration scholarship. Same thing, same deal. I got an award from that department. So again, combine them and minimize what you have to pay for college out of pocket. Okay. So moving on to the last thing that we have prepared for you all. And again, because we saw that we had a mixture of freshmen, sophomore, junior, seniors, I just want to make sure that we are all on the same page as far as the different sorts of applications that you are going to encounter throughout this process, because we've talked about tips for your admissions process. We've broken down the different types of scholarships. Now, I just want to make sure that you all are well equipped and understand the different sorts of applications that you will encounter, or components of the application. And there are two processes that will happen in parallel or at the same time. It will be the application process and it will be the scholarship process. So for the college application, there are the well-known components of a college application. your essay, there are your grades. And when I say your grades, there's actually two components of the GPA. There is the actual performance and whether you got an A, a B, a C, whatever it was, and the level of rigor of the courses that you took, whether they were regular, honors, AP, IB, college level, whatever the case might be. So those two things make up the academic component. Then there are the standardized test scores, SAT, ACT. Our Best College Aid members get access to study materials for both of those exams. And then there are the extracurricular components, clubs, organizations, sports, jobs, things you did outside of the classroom. And finally, there are the written and spoken components. It could be a college essay, a recommendation letters, your supplemental essay, your interviews. Okay, so those are the things that, regardless of if you are younger than a senior, if you are a freshman, sophomore, junior, or even in middle school, you can start thinking about those as you make decisions on the rest of your academic journey. Certainly in 2024, how will picking this class affect the rigor of the courses taken? How will joining this club will affect the competitiveness of my extracurricular section of the application? How does paying attention or not doing this homework or practicing my essay writing in my English AP Lit class, how will all those things culminate in the strongest college application possible? Okay, so those are the components of your academic college application that you will be submitting your senior year. And finally, I want to talk about the different applications that you will have to fill out. As far as the finances, there's a FAFSA, we've talked extensively about, for federal aid, free application for federal student aid. There's the CSS profile, which is needed by some schools, not all of them. Around 400 institutions require this form. And again, same concept as the FAFSA. It assesses the family's financial need. You need to fill it out starting October 1st. Then for state-sponsored awards, they might require you to fill out the FAFSA or the FAFSA and a particular form required by the state. They might not be mutually exclusive. You might have to fill out both. So just check out the policies for your particular state. And then the private scholarships that you will be applying to through the different search engines, through your counselors at your high school recommendation. All those scholarships will more than likely come up with their own sort of application. Okay, so that was a very quick but very extensive and comprehensive list of the different components of the different applications for both college and scholarships that you will be completing. I just wanted to quickly run down through them so that they never come up as a surprise as the years go by. Whether you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, you know that those things are in the horizon. So as far as the structured show, things that we wanted to cover, to teach, to go over, that is everything we had prepared for you all. However, we see that there are some questions. We have not been ignoring the chat. We have just been wanting to, again, go over all of the structure material. We're going to be answering some questions. But before we get there, we always end up getting questions in our DMs or questions that we don't get to because there's a lot of them. And right now, even though you're just watching on Instagram or on TikTok, we are trying to answer questions from Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook because we have a chat that filters all of them and combines them. And it's just, again, lots of questions coming up at the same time. So if you have questions that we don't get to answer, I very much recommend, advise that you check out, that you go to, if you're watching on Instagram and TikTok, to the Best College Aid USA profile. There is a link there. And there is this hour-long presentation that breaks down the entire process and what you should be completing for both the academic aspect and the scholarship aspect, and a bunch of recommendations that you should be, again, following along with. Bring a notepad, watch along. It's an hour, 20 minutes. It's a very dense presentation with a lot of things that are going to help you out on the road to college. You can register for that. It's completely free. The last 10 minutes, we talk about our Best College Aid program. If you are interested in joining, you can watch that. You can see the price. You can see we offer a special discount at the end for those who stick around towards the end. If you're not interested in that and you just want to get a free presentation with lots of value and ways to improve the competitiveness of your college application, make sure you're on track for college, then just watch the first 95% of the presentation. You can drop right afterwards or stay till the end to learn more about what we offered as our Best College Aid services. All right, so I wanted to extend that invitation. It is in the video description if you're watching on YouTube and Facebook. and it is in the link in our bio in Instagram and TikTok. All right, so watch that. And now, Laura, you can take us away.
Yes. So make sure to register, check out the free training for more. It's a free resource, an additional resource that we have for you. Make sure to check it out. Why don't we go ahead and answer some of your questions? Because I did get some comments. We have some comments from Sheena from YouTube asking us, saying that they're a 12th grader, that they filled out the FAFSA 2 weeks ago and still no response. All right. And you're joining us from Texas, Sheena. Let me tell you, unfortunately, you are not alone. Usually, in years before, in previous years, when you filled out the FAFSA, you should be hearing back. You know, it takes 3 to 5 days to process and about a week to hear back. Crazy that it's been 2 weeks, you haven't heard back. Most likely, this comes from all the issues, this roots from the issues that the platform has been having. I don't know if you've been able to check back, log back into your account, and it really does say that it's submitted. Does it say processing? Is there an update to that status when you do log in, or you're just waiting for an email? Make sure that if you have just been waiting for an email, if you haven't really logged back in, that you logged in and you check the status of that application. What I would recommend, if you really logged in and it says that it was processed, it was sent, and you just haven't heard back, maybe try to call the FAFSA helpline, that number online, so that you can, maybe get an answer. I will be, from what we've seen, it's going to be a very high volume of people calling. So you might not get a response, or it might have you on hold for a while before they get to you. So I would recommend maybe calling, sending an email. There's also an email option that you can use to reach out to them and ask your question. But the most likely, the reason why you haven't heard back is because of all the issues that they've been having. And they will get your application processed. You says that the application, it says, is processing. So thank you for asking your question. So definitely, if it still says processing and it's been 2 full weeks, if in a couple of days nothing changes, definitely give them a call. You probably, again, you will be on hold for a while, or it might take a couple of tries for you to get really through, because unfortunately a lot of people are calling and having issues, but this could help you. And I just want to touching up on this whole FAFSA debacle. I just want to let you all know, parents and students, this is an issue that a lot of people are facing, unfortunately, and colleges are fully aware that this is happening. Universities are fully aware of this is happening, and they are working to have some sort of system in place for when they do start receiving those FAFSA profiles, because right now colleges are not really receiving the FAFSA application from students from the FAFSA. They're not going to get them till, they said, the end of January. But with everything going on, I wouldn't be surprised if something changes. So definitely is good that you guys follow us, that you are tuning into these live streams, because we're trying to really kind of like give you updates as we go, because it is not in our control. This is literally they're on their end, the FAFSA. So don't get stressed. You've done, as long as you're trying to log in, trying to fill it out, you're doing everything that you can do on your end, and this is something that they have to fix. So I just wanted to let you know that, and to just maybe just ease some of your stress, that unfortunately is a lot of people who are experiencing this.
Correct. Next, I want to move on. I see on Instagram, Mirna is asking, they're already a member, and they try to activate the SAT and ACT study accounts. Just want to give a reminder to everyone, if you are a Best College Aid member, you have access to study materials for both the SAT and the ACT. Mirna, if you have not heard back, I see in the comments that you emailed us. We do have a policy that you should hear back from us within the first 24 hours. That's a policy that we hold to all of our members. So if you're having trouble getting a hold of us, you can DM us your email account, and I'll make sure to check out after this presentation is over. I'll go ahead and make sure that everything is right and that we have the proper information, because that's a policy that we take very seriously. So I'll go ahead and check that out for you, and I'll send over the materials for both the SAT, ACT, and grant you access to the platform, to the Facebook group, and we'll make sure to take care of that. Thank you so much. You said you did that before. Go ahead and yeah. So I'll go ahead and check it personally after you send that DM, and we'll take care of that for you. Okay.
All right, Fran, do you want to answer this question from TikTok? Somebody's asking, my daughter has not filled out the 2022 taxes. What does she put on the question for income and tax withheld?
Yeah. So what we want to do in particular cases like that, because this information is going to be sent over to the universities, you are going to have to address it on two fronts. First, you're going to, again, have to fill out the free application for federal student aid. Typically, in other cases, it's connected to the IRS data retrieval tool. So I would go ahead and contact them because it's a new form and there's no necessarily a precedent on how they handle. Because before, you had to put this information manually. However, now it's automated and integrated with the data retrieval tool. I would go ahead and contact the federal government. On their website, they have a help center. They also have a phone number that you can call just to make sure that the form gets processed. And then what I would argue is probably even more important than that. You got to make sure that the form is processed, yes, because it will be sent over to the universities. However, once it gets sent over to the universities, it is in your best interest to go ahead the last week of January at the earliest to go ahead and send them, call the university, go on Google and type in the name of every university that you applied to, and every university that you applied to, find their financial aid award office and ask them how they deal with those particular cases. Because again, one of the most important, obviously all the different types of aid and scholarships are important, but colleges are the ones that are going to give you the biggest chunk of your financial aid award package, considering or assuming that you apply to generous schools. So it'll be equally, if not more important, to go ahead and contact the financial aid office and see if they require additional documentation, perhaps tax returns from a later year, perhaps bank statements from a current year. So you go ahead and you check out that additional piece of information that is provided to you by the particular schools after checking in first with the federal government, making sure the form is submitted, then directly with the schools, okay? So that would be my recommendation in that particular case.
All right, awesome. All right, last couple of questions. First off, Mirna, we will be messaging you after this live stream via Instagram to help you out to get this fixed and give you that not maintenance, but that help for all your questions regarding the SAT and the membership benefits. And I do want to answer a question. I lost it, but I'm trying to find it. Okay, from Isabella. Which one has more weight, service hours or working hours? Excellent question. So both things are very important. Working hours, if you're referring to having a job, having a part-time job, that is something that is going to look good in your application that colleges want to see and like to see, and also is going to be good for you to, save money and start having some cash for yourself and maybe use it when it's time to go to college. The thing about service hours, community service, it's more important in some cases just because a lot of high schools do require students to have a certain amount of community service hours in order to graduate. So if you had to prioritize one in order to graduate, obviously it's going to be community service hours in that aspect. So make sure that if your high school does have some graduation policy where students have to have, 100 to 100 community service hours, that you are prioritizing that. We usually tell our members to get those, knock them out in the beginning of high school, or just get them as early as possible and as many as possible. But also having a job is really important. It teaches you a lot, and is something that you could definitely add to your application or talk about in an essay, talk about in an interview, and it is very important. But definitely make sure that if your school does require community service hours, that you are completing those, because a lot of high schools do have that requirement in order to graduate. Alrighty, so I don't see any more questions on YouTube, Facebook. I hope that this presentation was beneficial to you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, for watching us. Make sure that if you're watching us on YouTube and Facebook, that you subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to our channel, like this video, share it with somebody who might need it. And stay tuned. We will be live on Wednesday. We have a really cool live planned out for you. We will be going a really great college admissions essay from one of our students who got accepted into a great institution. So make sure that you tune in for that. That is going to be on YouTube and Facebook. So that's why we encourage you to follow us in our other social media platforms. So follow Best College Aid USA on YouTube and on Facebook so that you can tune into that live stream where we will go over this really valuable information. Fran, do you have anything else to add?
Thank you so much for watching. This has been lovely. Thank you so much for your questions. And yes, I will be live on Wednesday to do that special essay related show. And if not, we'll see you next week. And if not, we'll see you inside the free presentation. And if not, we'll see you on social media or elsewhere. All right. So take good care, everybody.
Have a good one. I'll see you guys later.